Good morning. It is Sunday, December the 24th. I'm VELSHI. As we've seen over the past couple of weeks, Donald Trump's complicated legal situation is causing a lot of uncertainty in the political world. His third run for the presidency is threatened by challenges to his eligibility to hold public office ever again, a question that may reach the Supreme Court in a couple of days. Meanwhile, late last night, Donald Trump filed a brief to the D.C. Court of Appeals, continuing to assert that he's immune from prosecution for acts that he committed while president, specifically his role in questioning the results of the 2020 election. That's the argument he's making in the hopes of getting Jack Smith's criminal election interference case against him dismissed. It also has the potential to upend Fani Willis's sprawling election interference case in Fulton County, Georgia, not to mention the fact that if Trump succeeds with his claim of immunity, it could reshape our understanding about the powers of the presidency. There is a lot at stake. In case you need a reminder, the former president was indicted 4 times this year. He's facing a total of 91 criminal charges in Manhattan, Washington, D.C., Florida, and Fulton County, Georgia. A New York judge has also found him liable in the Attorney General's civil fraud lawsuit against him and his company. And a separate judge found him liable for sexually abusing the writer and columnist E. Jean Carroll during an encounter in the 1990s. Carroll is also suing Donald Trump a second time over defamation comments that he made on CNN in May. His punishment on those 2 civil cases are still pending. On top of all of this, he's continuing his campaign to return to the White House, and the Colorado Supreme Court just ruled that Trump is ineligible to appear on the state's primary ballot based on the disqualification clause, which is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It's going to be one very busy year ahead for the former president. And to give you an idea of just how jam-packed 2024 is going to be for Trump world, let's take a look at what's ahead of them just in the next month. Let's start on December 29th. Jack Smith's other case, the classified documents case, Mar-a-Lago. Trump's got to disclose to the court whether he's going to use what's called the advice of counsel defense. On December 30th, just a day later, Jack Smith's opposition to Trump's immunity appeal is due. On January 2nd, when Trump's reply to the immunity decision is due to the D.C. Circuit Court, January 4th is the deadline for Trump to appeal to the Colorado Supreme Court for the ruling regarding his disqualification from the state's primary ballot. That appeal is going to trigger an automatic stay on the Colorado State Supreme Court's order until the Supreme Court of the United States resolves the matter. On January 5th, post-trial briefs are due from both the defense and the New York Attorney General Letitia James's office in the civil fraud trial. On January 9th, the D.C. Court of Appeal is going to hear oral arguments regarding Trump's claim of presidential immunity. On January, am I on the right one? Yeah, January 11th. The defense and Letitia James makes their closing arguments in the New York civil fraud trial. The judge could announce penalties soon thereafter. On January 12th in Florida, the special counsel must disclose which expert witnesses they plan on using at trial. And by the way, this is now an election year starting January 1st. On January 15th, the first in the nation Iowa caucuses are going to kick off the election season. And on January 16th, one day later, the second case brought by the writer E. Jean Carroll against the ex-president is going to go to trial. Finally, on January the 23rd, voters in New Hampshire will cast their ballots in the state's primary. And that's just January. And this calendar isn't set in stone. Things could shift or get added. For example, if the Supreme Court of the United States takes up Trump's appeal regarding his disqualification from the Colorado ballot, his attorneys are going to need to make time to file even more briefs in that case. So you can expect to hear a lot more about that in the days ahead, because a lot of people are looking for more clarity on that particular topic, which we're going to discuss in just a minute. It's even set off a debate about whether or not it would even be wise to bar Trump from the ballot, with some arguing that losing at the ballot box would be the clearest rejection of Trump and Trumpism. The question is whether the country can withstand another attack on its democratic principles like what happened the last time Donald Trump lost an election.